Donald Trump and I have a plan to get this economy moving again. Just the way that it worked in the 1980s, just the way it worked in the 1960s. And that is by lowering taxes across the board for working families, small businesses, and family farms, ending the war on coal that is hurting jobs and hurting this economy, even here in Virginia, repealing Obamacare, lock, stock, and barrel, and repealing all of the executive orders that Barack Obama has signed that are stifling economic growth in this economy.
Mike Pence making the case for the Trump economic plan in tonight's vice presidential debate. We continue our discussion, and you're welcome to join us via telephone at 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. Alongside Miranda Kahn and Ed Berliner here on the National Anchor Desk, and from Newsmax New York, our friend Bill Tucker. It is interesting to watch the give and take of a debate. We heard what Brother Pence had to say. Now let's give equal time to Senator Tim Kaine and his indictment of Donald Trump and the economy.
The Trump plan is a different plan. It's a you're fired plan, and there's two key elements to it. First, Donald Trump said wages are too high. And both Donald Trump and Mike Pence think we ought to eliminate the federal minimum wage. Mike Pence, when he was in Congress, voted against raising the minimum wage above $5.15. And he has been a one-man bulwark against minimum wage increases in Indiana. The second component of the plan is massive tax breaks for the very top. Trillions of dollars of tax breaks for people just like Donald Trump.
So an interesting little exchange there. And Miranda Kahn, I was struck by the nonverbal nature of the Pence silent response. Back in 2000, Al Gore got in trouble for shaking his head vigorously when George W. Bush would make a point. But you see
it was very
Pence
subtle.
there, yeah, just kind of almost that Reagan shrug. Almost a "there you go again" kind of.
Exactly.
I expected those words a few times. It almost seems as if you put a thought bubble above Mike Pence's head. It would have been, well, there you go again. It really seemed perfect.
You do that way too well. It's almost scary.
Well,
yeah, and they tried. They tried with that same catchy phrase, though. Although I think Kaine did a better job than Clinton did with the, what did she call it? I can't even remember it now. Trumped
oh, that's
up.
Right. Trumped up, trickle down.
Right.
But you know, come
Clinton's gonna hire. Trump is gonna. They try. They keep trying at this. I don't know if it's their strength.
Now, I don't mean to indict that fine civic organization known as Toastmasters International, teaching the finer points of public speaking to those who might be initially fearful of public speaking. But I just have to ask you, Bill Tucker, not even a Toastmasters club would be teaching this, okay, take a line from a TV show and stick it in here and hope it's real clever. To me, the whole you're fired economy thing just fell flat.
Well, you know, they try. You're right. They keep working those every time, and they try and see if they're going to work. And really and truly, I thought this was where Pence really missed a great opportunity, because one of the biggest differences between these two campaigns was on display right there. There is a candidate, as a presidential candidate, a vice presidential candidate, there is a ticket that says the government should run the economy, the government should be in control, the government should set the wages, the government should hire people. And on the other side is reality, people. The other ticket says, no, this has to be done by the private sector. And Pence missed a great opportunity to go, that's a really great line. I don't think it quite works, because the reality is it's not the government that drives the economy. It is private business and the private sector which drive it. And, you know, I thought he missed a great opportunity to make one of the biggest differences very clear to people when they're looking at these two campaigns, and it was a lost opportunity on Pence's part.
We don't want you to lose your opportunity at home to get in and offer your perspective on tonight's debate. Maybe you've cooked up a one-liner for our edification and education. 1-877-Newsmax, 1-877-639-7629. Panel, as I listened to that, and yeah, the setup line was a little hackneyed, back to the art of politics. There is a reason, again, it's born out of polling, a reason why Tim Kaine went to the minimum wage. And I can just tell you from personal experience, even in the heyday of the first Republican Congress in 40 years, when we were working through those first 100 days, the contract with America, our approval ratings were close to 70%. There was one issue Democrats always could go back to and have a majority of support, and that is the minimum wage. And so that is why you saw Kaine go to that and attack Pence for his votes in Congress on the minimum wage. Why? Well, there are Americans who are entrepreneurs and who want to be their own boss, but there are a heck of a lot of people who work for somebody else or just hear that notion of, quote, fairness. And the minimum wage, since the days of Harry Truman, has carried huge weight politically.
You are right about the picking of lines and the picking of things and knowing when to go to them. You talked a moment ago about basically the art of politics. I think we can all agree that we have seen the art of politics undergo a earth-shaking shift here in the last year, because we sometimes sit here and go, where's the policy? Policy doesn't make a difference anymore. Americans have wanted to see, and now they are getting, histrionics, cliches, and snappy comebacks. It's what they remember. It's what burns into their brain right now. Tim Kaine is trying to do that by picking out the television lines. Mike Pence is not hitting those right now. I think he can do a much better job at it. But let's be very honest with ourselves right now. We are seeing this debate, the past debate, the next two will be based a lot on entertainment value and what people hear coming through in those cliches. That's the new art of politics. Whoever masters that wins.
Do you think, JD, just, having been a politician, do you think that Pence's background, being a radio and television host, do you think that came across tonight in his performance? And also, I know that he practiced with Walker.
Scott Walker was playing the part of Tim Kaine,
right?
And I can almost see how this came about, because they have these National Association of Governors conferences. And for some reason, I figured that a couple of things are going on. Old Scott is looking to the future if one day Pence is the nominee to have somebody. So Walker is kind of getting that. But I also think probably has an animus toward Tim Kaine and has studied him and said, I can play this guy at his most obnoxious, and I can show you the kind of guy you're going to get. And when you get a good debate partner, I mean, I had a guy, he shall remain nameless, my former press secretary, who later came into our business in television journalism and had some big gigs, but he was so effective at being the double of my opponent that, I mean, he had it all down to the point of the inflection in the voice. And the first debate, when I'm just mopping the floor with the guy, my guy who is playing his part is sitting there in the audience with this beatific grin on his face saying, see, I knew how to debate, I knew how to play this guy, and it helped out immensely. So I think it really helped. Hey, one thing that'll help us is to hear what America is saying at 1-877-Newsmax, 1-877-639-7629. To America's heartland, Wichita is where Virginia is on the line. Hi, Virginia.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
You bet.
I just comment on the debate, because I'm really disappointed in the debate. I'm an old woman, and I've been watching presidential elections for a long time, and starting with Candace Crowley and with Obama and Romney, and then the presidential election recently, and now this one. I thought Tim Kaine tonight was rude to the point of obnoxious. I felt like the moderator just didn't do anything to even try to control it, and when she did, it was all biased for Kaine, Ted Kaine, or Tim Kaine, I'm sorry. And I just think that the debates are just going to become where American people just don't care to watch them anymore. We listen to the speeches. We know what the candidates think and feel. We know who we want to vote for. And I just think that the debates are becoming useless to us.
You make some points, Virginia, a lot of people agree with, and Donald Trump was weighing in via Twitter throughout this debate. In fact, I think we have one that we can put up on the screen here. Yeah, it's a retweet. Now, you guys, you're much better versed in Twitter-ese than I am, but I guess Donald Trump is retweeting what some other people have said here.
Correct.
And the gist of the comment is, Kaine looks like an evil crook out of the Batman movies.
Now, I'm a pretty astute Batman follower. I cannot think of a crook that looks like Tim Kaine.
Well, now
I'm
look at the
having a
freeze
difficult
frame
time.
here.
Maybe a little bit of a young penguin.
I think it's a
Penguin?
cross. Well,
Joker?
Yeah, look at the mouth right there, Joker.
I'm thinking Joker.
And what we're getting on the right side with Pence is Race Bannon sleeping from the Johnny Quest cartoon series with that gray hair right there.
Yeah, you
Well, if
nailed
Bandit
that.
shows up on the set, then we're all in trouble.
And if Johnny and Haji are behind, it'll be really something going on.
You know what everybody's missed here very quickly before we split, or at least I split at this point? There's a huge controversy here that no one's talked about. Can we put up the picture again real quick of just the two?
The ties.
Real quick. Thank you very much.
ties.
Tim Kaine is wearing a red tie. Pence is wearing a blue tie. No one's talked about this.
Yeah.
There's a conspiracy going on here. I think we need to discuss this in depth.
Hillary wore red. Trump wore navy.
And
you know.
we will discuss this, the transposition of politics and colors. And we hope you're watching this in living color. We'll be back with your thriving comments. We continue our post-debate special right after this.